What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons have 21 games left in the regular season, and the playoff picture is starting to shape up and become a little bit more clear. I think it's safe to say that the Cavs and Celtics will be holding down that 1 and 2 seed barring a collapse. So I think that 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 range is starting to get pretty clear. And in this video, we are going to go through and talk through the 3 potential most likely matchups for the Pistons. And we are going to rank them first, the team that I don't want to see. And then we're going to talk about the team that I would be okay with us seeing and I think we'd have a chance against, but not so much. And then we're going to talk about the team that I do think the Pistons have a great chance against and the team that I want to see the most in the first round of the playoffs. So to hop right into it, the first team that I really don't want to see is currently sitting in the 4th seed, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks. There is a couple different reasons why I really don't want to see the Bucks in the first round, and the first reason is because we have yet to beat them this year. If you guys remember, back at the start of the year, we played against the Bucks. We had them on the ropes. Stu got ejected, and then Ron Holland ended up missing 2 go-ahead game-winning free throws, which led to overtime and the Bucks winning that game. Giannis had 58 points in that game, and we really had no way to slow him down. We ended up playing them again in the in-season tournament, where we got clobbered pretty well. We do have them on the schedule for our last 2 games of the season again. Maybe there's something I see in those last 2 games that changes my opinion, but as of right now, this is the team that I would most want to avoid out of the bunch. They would have the best player in the series. As much as I love Cade Cunningham, I think you can make a real argument for Cade being a top 10 player this year, and that's not even bias, but he wouldn't be the best player in the series. That would be the guy on the screen right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis, of course, was able to win a championship in 2021. They have that playoff experience. Guys like Brook Lopez is still on that team who won the championship with them. Damian Lillard, despite not being a part of that championship core, has been in plenty of big playoff games and have came through in the clutch in big moments. And overall, this is just a scary playoff team for me. Maybe you all feel differently. Maybe you all believe that they don't have great depth or some of their trade deadline acquisitions aren't too great. But overall, this is a team that I do not want to see in the playoffs at all if they're at full health, especially in the first round. So, moving along to the team that I would be a little bit cautious about, but not completely worried about, and that is the New York Knicks. A couple different reasons why I feel pretty good about playing against the New York Knicks in the first round. Number one, we currently have a win advantage on them head-to-head in the regular season. We have beat them 2 times this year. We have lost to them once. And I think that's probably a good sign heading into the playoffs and a potential matchup against them. During those 2 wins, when we did play against them, I thought we played well. And Cade was really able to make Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby look like not premier perimeter defenders that they are. Both Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby are very good perimeter defenders, but Cade was working them out both times we played them in both of the wins. And they really didn't do a lot to send doubles or bodies at Cade. They kind of trusted in their premier perimeter defenders to guard Cade one-on-one, and neither of them did a very good job of doing so in the 2 games that we won against them. They also have kind of some depth issues, which makes me a little bit optimistic as well. Tibbs doesn't really utilize his bench, especially not in the playoffs. And even then, their bench really isn't that great anymore, so that does have me feeling pretty good about a potential matchup against the Knicks. However, there are a couple things that do scare me about this series. Number one, it's Cat. Karl Anthony Towns is a tough matchup for our Pistons. I know that our team has gotten better at guarding stretch bigs like Karl Anthony Towns, but he is a tough matchup for us. And also, another thing I don't like so much is the fact that Madison Square Garden is an incredibly tough place to play playoff basketball, especially for a team like us that is young. Almost everybody on our roster has next to no playoff experience. Going into Madison Square Garden is a lower seed against the Knicks. Would be a little bit intimidating, especially against a Knicks team that is hungry. They feel like they have a lot to prove. They are older than our core, but also not over the hill. So they're coming right into their own, and they probably believe these are their prime years at the moment, and they're going to be doing everything they can to get as far as they can in the playoffs. Of course, we did drop one game very, very badly to them at the start of the year where we got absolutely blown out, but that was so far back at the start of the year. We are a totally different team from then, so that doesn't really scare me all that much. So now, to talk about the team that I most would want to see in the first round, and I think the Pistons would have the best chance of winning against out of any realistic first round opportunity for us, and that is the Indiana Pacers. A couple different things that make me pretty optimistic about the Indiana Pacers in a playoff series. Number one, we would have the best player in this series. Tyrese Haliburton, Pascal Siakam, both have been all-stars before, but unquestionably have not played as well as Cade Cunningham has played this season. Sometimes in the NBA, as simple as it is, that can be what playoff series come down to. Which team is the best player between the two teams on? That can be the difference maker in certain series. And in this potential matchup, the Pistons would have the best player with Cade Cunningham. Another thing that makes me pretty optimistic is the fact that Ausar can definitely bother Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton can potentially be dangerous at times, but I think Ausar would be a perfect defensive matchup for him. Throughout the year, the Pistons are currently 1-3 against the Pacers and have finished playing them in the regular season. In many of those games, Miles Turner got incredibly hot from the three-point line, but I do think that Jalen Duren specifically has gotten better at guarding players like Miles Turner, bigs that can stretch it out to the three-point line. So that has me optimistic. Another thing that makes me optimistic is the fact that the Pacers are the 20th ranked defense. And that really does not scream like a team that would translate well to the playoffs to me. I know they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but let's be honest, they beat up on two severely injured teams to get there. So I think that defense that they have could be a bit exploitable in a playoff series where our entire team was healthy. Obviously, this has turned into a bit of a rivalry, a rejuvenation of the rivalry that I grew up on between the Pistons and Pacers. And I do think that the Pistons could win that mental matchup as well. We have some dogs on our team. I think that we all know that. And I think that there's a real world where in a playoff series, they could get under the skin of the Pacers. So overall, it could go either way. I really don't know what's going to happen within the next 21 games, but I do know that the most likely outcome is that we do match up with one of these three teams that we discussed in this video today. Let me know if you guys have a different order of preference on who you would want to see in the first round, or maybe you don't care. Maybe you say bring on whoever. Be interested to hear your guys' thoughts, and we'll catch up soon.